Get daily updates directly to your inbox. Subscriber, thank you for subscribing. Cold not subscribe. Try again later. Invalid email. Reaching over to shake the hand of an inmate at the notorious Blackwater River Correctional Facility, Piers Morgan feels a sudden chill in the air. Over his 4 decades as a journalist and interviewer, this is the first time he has ever felt such palpable unease. Because he's not shaking the hand of just any inmate. He's come face to face with sadistic killer Mark Reeb, a man convicted of murdering a pregnant mum, who then confessed to slaughtering another 12 women, only to later sensationally retract every word. It means Reeb, believed to be one of the US's worst serial killers, is serving time for just 1 murder, while the families of the other women have been left seeking answers for decades. He's someone that has pathologically, psychopathically dragged women, sometimes pregnant women and mothers of young kids, and killed them for kicks, or thrill, says Piers. He's already in prison for 1 horrendous murder and has revealed enough about other murders to convince the police that he's a mass serial killer. And like all serial killers, I think part of the pleasure is being able to continue taunting the families, similar to what Ian Brady did. It's unspeakable. Reeb, now 77, spent his days in the Florida maximum security prison, where he agreed to meet Piers for a one-off ITV show. But his story is harrowing. From the late 1970s to the early 1990s, a string of young women, all weighing less than 8 stone, went missing in northern Florida. Some bodies would later be found, buried in shallow graves or left naked in the back of an old car. Others never were. It was in 1989 that Reeb carried out a truly heartless murder, and the only one for which he's been convicted. That of pregnant 29-year-old mummophone Donna Callahan. He and his jailbird half-brother William Alex Wells had pulled up at the convenience store where Donna was working behind the counter, grabbed her and bundled her into their car. Reeb then strangled her in the back seat as she teary-begged for the life of her unborn baby, before dumping the body in a shallow grave. In a sick twist, they picked a spot near their house so they could drive past almost daily to get a fresh thrill. 7 years later, in 1996, Wells was arrested, and in a bid to save himself from the death penalty, led police to the grave. In police tapes, Wells paints the picture of Reeb, in the backseat, strangling Donna as she cried for mercy. "I heard her saying, 'No, don't do this to me,'" said Wells. "And then, I don't know how to describe the sounds, it sounded like he had cut her throat or something, a real fleshy sound. After that, I turned round and she had foam in her mouth. It took him a while before she quit." Wells and Reeb were both tried and convicted of Donna's murder in 1998 and are serving life sentences. Just months into his sentence, Reeb, then 56, began making gruesome confessions about the abduction and murder of another 12 young women, including Bonnie Gail Ryther, 27, in 1978, Jacqueline Brandt, 18, in 1986, and Pamela June Ray, 36, who went missing visiting Panama City Beach with her 2 children, in 1992. The body of Bonnie was found battered and bruised after being missing for a week, in a shallow grave similar to Donna's. Reeb would have been just 17 at the time. He also confessed to the vicious stabbing of 23-year-old Rhonda Taylor, whose naked body was found in the backseat of a car in 1990, and 14-year-old Andrea Durham, whose body has never been found. In a taped confession about Pamela, Reeb said, "I slipped my knife out of my pocket, popped it open real quick and I grabbed her. She made a noise. I told her to shut up. If she made another noise, I would kill her right then and there." Reeb's confessions included details the police are confident only the killer could know. The women were also similar in size to 4 times married Reeb's ex-wives. Having listened to the old tapes and seen the police files, Piers says, "I think Reeb loved the power he could wield over all these women, who were complete strangers. I think with all serial killers, it's about control and power, and being able to exercise power in this ruthless, murderous way. They literally get off on it." Yet in a blow to the families, Reeb later withdrew every word of the confessions. Now 2 decades on, the Good Morning Britain host wasted no time in challenging Reeb during their meeting for tonight's serial killer with Piers Morgan sitting close together. He confronts Reeb, dressed in baggy blue prison uniform, with pictures of his innocent victims. During the chilling interview, a handcuffed Reeb threatens to walk out twice after protesting his innocence. Piers then tells him, "I don't believe you. I think you are a serial killer. I think you did kill these women." Reeb's icy blue eyes stare back at a composed Piers, before the thug dramatically stands up, rips off his microphones and demands to leave the room. In his typical outspoken manner, Piers demands, "Why don't you sit here like a man and answer these questions? I know I am not a 110-pound woman that you can kill. You did kill them, didn't you? You killed them all." He says afterwards, "I knew I was dealing with an unbelievably dangerous person. I was with one of the worst serial killers in the world. It's chilling to sit opposite a guy like that, to greet him as he walks in, and like so many killers he looks so insignificant, normal. He was unassuming, not that big. You don't look at him and think, killer. You look at him like he's a regular prisoner." But, in the back of my mind, I had researched every one of the killings, I had seen all of the confessions, I had worked out the stuff he had confessed to that only the killer would know. While Piers failed to get a confession from Reeb, his behavior has convinced the TV presenter of his guilt. "It's my first interview where someone has walked out," he says. He nearly walked out about 3 times. "I had already been warned by the police what he would be like. This is a man capable of unbelievable violent rage at the flick of a switch. And they warned me to be careful when I was sat with him, because he has nothing to lose. I thought he could attack me." He kept blowing up with anger. "It was intimidating knowing what he is capable of. But by his explosive action in walking out, you can tell you're dealing with a killer. That's not the behavior of an innocent man." Piers remains disappointed for the families. For the victims' families, the not knowing is like an extra dagger in their hearts and, in the end, their loved ones may have died for no other reason than simply the thrill of the kill. Serial Killer with Piers Morgan is on ITV1 at 9 p.m. on Thursday.